All right, so today we're going to talk about ratios and proportions, which basically is the same way of saying something. The definition is of ratio is the numerical relation between two amounts. Okay. So it's how much something compares to another, and we're going to look at this. So in words, I would say the ratio between feet and inches is 1 to 12. Okay, because that's 1 foot to 12 inches. Okay, and we'll kind of look at an example of that here in a second. Pictures are symbols. You are going to have something that looks like this. You're going to have a fraction equaling a fraction, and we're going to set it up. So if I said something like, how many, an example would be, how many feet is 70 inches? Okay, and what I could then say is, well, 1 foot is to 12 inches. So how many feet is 70 inches? And then we would do what you learned in pre-algebra is you're going to cross multiply and solve. But this is just kind of an example, and we're going to look at these. Okay, what a proportion is, they're very similar to each other. The definition of a proportion is just a relationship between quantities. Okay. And so it could be a ratio, but it also could be a it doesn't have to be numerical. And the one above a ratio is. Okay, so you could use words in this if you think about like there are we could do days. There are 30 days approximately in 1 month. And so with proportions, a lot of times they're going to use this colon, but you do not have to. So you're going to have something like an amount colon to another amount. And so we'll switch some of this stuff. So again, you could use this exact same example. We could come up with others. That would be fine as well. But the thing about ratios and proportions is they are just comparing each other. So if I look at this, we're going to simplify to see if they are equivalent ratios. Okay, so the fractions are equivalent. So if I look at this, 16, 8 goes into 16 2 times, and 8 goes in here 3 times. So yes, my answer is yes, they are equivalent. Excuse me. Okay, if I look at the next one, 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. No, they are not equivalent. Okay, and then on the last one, I can also say for sure no, because, oh, what am I? Good morning. You'd have to do them both. That's what happens when you do this at 8:40 on a Sunday night. Your mind isn't there. They both do reduce though. So you got to check that. So this one reduces to 1/6. Good thing I didn't go very far, right? And this one reduces to 1/6. So my answer on this is yes. So sometimes you can reduce the first one, sometimes the second, and then other times you're going to have to reduce both of them to see if they're equivalent. Okay, so now we're going to go back kind of, you guys did this in pre-algebra, you did this in junior high, so it's just kind of a review. We're just going to simply cross multiply. So you're going to have 5x equals 30. So I'm going to write it as an equation. And then the opposite operation of multiplying by 5 is dividing by 5. So my answer is 6. So I'm going to cross multiply and I'm going to get the answer. Okay. And so same thing here. I'm going to cross multiply. Here is where a lot of kids mess up. I would not multiply that. I would write it as parentheses because you are going to have to distribute it. Now, some kids will skip that step and they're going to multiply it into both of them. which is legal. Like, I'm not grading you on showing me every single step, but you got to make sure that 7 is going into both of them. And so now I get to this point. So we would put our line down the middle, and I'm going to add 14 to both sides. And so I get 7x equals 42, and I'm going to divide both sides by 7. So x equals 6. Okay. So I would like you to just attempt example 3, and you can hit pause and just try it for yourself, and then I'll work it. So I'm going to use my parentheses. I'm going to do 8 times x plus 4, and I'm going to do 5 times x minus 2. So I'd have 8x plus 32 equals 5x minus 10. So now I would go ahead and put my line down the middle. So, and it doesn't really matter what you move. So I'm going to minus my 5x first. That gives me 3x plus 32 equals a negative 10. So I'm going to minus 32. And I get 3x equals a negative 42. So then I'm going to divide by 3. And x equals 42 divided by 3 is a negative 14. So that is my answer. Okay, so go ahead and try the same. Oh, that's the same one as above. So that must have been a typo. I apologize. I think you got it. So you do not need to work the same one twice. Okay. All right. So you're also going to have these as word problems. I'm just going to kind of give that out of the way. Okay. So I'm going to just kind of use the highlighter here. So in the last 2 years, okay, there was 232 shoe carnivals. Okay. Then it says, if the rate of growth remains constant, how many shoe carnivals will open in the next 3 years? So I would write this stuff in words. If you write it in words, it makes a lot more sense. I'm comparing their years to the number of shoe carnivals, right? So if I look at the first one, 2 years gave me 232 shoe carnivals. Now, you're not in class, but I could have done it the other way, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. And so then if I do this, it's going to be 3 years over x. So when I cross multiply, sorry, I have to get out my calculator. I don't know that one in my head. So when I cross multiply, I have 3 times 232. So that gives me 696. I don't know why I wrote 2. 696. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I divide by 2, and I get x equals 348 stores. Okay, now, and this is what someone's going to ask in class, and you're just not there. I could have done this problem. Does it matter which one you put on the top? Could I have done shoe carnivals to years? So that would have been 2 over 232 equals, well, good morning to me, 232 over 2, I have it written right here, equals x over 3. So when I cross multiply, I get the exact same numbers. 2x equals 696. So does it matter if you do years on the top or shoe carnivals? No. You're just going to read the question and you're going to write the proportion. So on the next one, it says Ramsey Cascade Trail is about 1/8 inch long. I think get that out of the way there. There we go. So we can see 1/8 inch long on the map with a scale of 3 inches to 10 miles. So this is important because this gives us our ratio. So I'm saying, I'm going to write it in words first because I just said I'm going to choose to do inches to miles. So that means 3 inches to 10 miles equals, well, if I look at what they've given me here, this is inches. So inches in my wording goes on top. So I'm going to do 1 1/8 over x. So if I cross multiply, I would have 3x equals, well, 1 1/8 would be 9/8. So if I multiply that, that would be 90/8, which is 11.25. And I used my calculator. You would be allowed to. So then I'm going to divide by 3. And my answer is going to be 11.25 divided by 3 is going to be x equals 3.75 miles. Okay. All right. So In the homework thing, you're going to do, I'm dropping in the worksheet, and I just tonight, for tonight's homework, you can take a picture of it and send it to me. You're just going to do the first 2 pages. Okay, just do the front and the back, or so the first 2 pages. The third page starts over with question number 1. We are going to do that one tomorrow, so if you've got it, you're more than welcome to work it, but we are going to talk about that more tomorrow.